right now. Listen up.
3, 2, 1.
It's showtime.
That's great.
This is ridiculous.
99.3 The Truth.
You can't handle the truth right now.
Ooh.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Let's do it.
Hit it.
It's time for Max World. And here we go.
Everybody, let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Call Matt 244-0077 or text 809-0993.
It's showtime, everybody. Showtime.
Exclusively on 99.3 The Truth.
7 minutes after 3 o'clock. 26th day of August in the Lord's year 2016. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and this is the Friday edition of Max World Live. Friday always, how much did we figure out? 15%?
Yes.
15% more fun. But we may exceed that today.
Sure.
Because we have Brian Leech in the studio, and we're going to talk about a very, 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 very important topic. Men and their wounded hearts. Ooh, you just thought of some man you needed to call, didn't you? Say, get yourself on that radio or get on the web. They're going to talk about men and their wounded hearts. Holy Toledo. And we're going to tell you about a place that your man can go or you can go to begin to heal those wounds. Wounds that you thought you would never survive. Your worst case scenario. My wife is leaving me. My daughter and I don't talk anymore. My parents and I don't know, we don't have a relationship anymore. I'm so hurt by everything that happened when I was a kid, and I just can't forgive them. Just draw that circle around every relationship that a man has in his life. And whether you know it or not, if you're in love with a man, he's got wounds. Because he's probably not loving you the right way. I remember once telling my wife that I gave my entire heart to her, that she had it all. I found out in studying The Wild at Heart that a man should never give his heart away to anybody or anything other than Jesus. Phone lines will be open. You can use a fake name. Bob always works. 515-244-0077. Maybe you can call up and say, well, I've got this friend. I don't care. I don't care. If there's a question stirring inside of you, this is the place to call it and lay it on the table, lay it at the foot of the cross, hand it over to Jesus, and watch what he does with it. Frank is here, and Frank's going to relate some of his personal experiences when it comes to relationships. You've had 2 relationships with women, right?
Long term.
Yeah. I'm not talking about those 5 months dating sprees you go on. If you look up stalker in the Funkin' Wagnall, it's got Frank's picture.
What's a Funkin' Waggle?
That's a dictionary.
Oh.
You've never heard of a Funkin' Wagnall?
I've heard of Webster.
Yeah, Webster. Funkin' Wagnall. Bob Montserrat, the cat in the hat, watching the chat and the Service Legends Truth Talk text line at 515-809-0993. Maybe you don't want your voice heard. So you can text it to us. If need be, Jebediah is a wonderful note taker. You could call him and explain to him. He doesn't have a lot of time, okay? Seriously, he produces the visual and the audio for the show. But if you can't text it or you don't want to text it, you don't want to get on the air, but you want the question asked, call Jebediah, 244-0077, and he'll get that question over to Brian and I. All right, Mr. Leech, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic.
We are we are 4 weeks?
Yeah, about 4 weeks from the boot camp.
Away from the Wild at Heart boot camp, Iowa. It's down at Lake Aquabi. Thank you. It is going to be Thursday night, September 22nd, 5 o'clock, through September 25th, Sunday at noon. You have to stay the whole time.
Unless an emergency happens.
Right. Well, and if you hate it, I mean, you can leave.
Sure.
But there's a chronological order to the curriculum.
Yeah. We're going through a process. We're going through a process with Jesus. We're getting some awareness on the core desires of a man's heart and how we're built, how we're wired all the way back into Genesis. Possibly even some clues into how a woman is wired, how the beauty is wired, and then what makes a man come alive, and how have in our journey we gone from having so much desire in our hearts when we were younger, and we get older and we get older, and that desire just gets attacked and beat on by the world.
Yep.
We get to go down that road.
Yeah, and it's an amazing road. And we'll share some of that with you today.
Okay, let's liven it up and have some fun. No.
Yeah.
Well, let's just jump right in. All right. Let's say you're a cage fighter.
Yeah.
And you get punched right in the ribs and get a broken rib.
Yep.
Okay. That rib isn't totally healed, but you're scheduled for another fight. You're going to go into that fight, and you're going to be favoring and trying to protect a wound.
Yes.
Okay, and it's probably going to become obvious, and the guy who's fighting you is going to do his best to exploit that broken rib.
Right.
Okay. So in relationships, we get wounded.
Yeah.
We get broken hearts. We get all kinds of things broken up and destroyed. We go into a next relationship, and we're favoring and protecting a wound.
Yes.
That's common with men and women both. I don't think it's anything that's exclusive just to men.
Yeah, and how it manifests itself for a man is different than a woman. A man will generally, what ends up happening is a false self comes out. A pose is what we call it at the boot camp. I mean, we got a whole session on the poser. But the wound happens. There is no child that escapes childhood without some sort of wounding. We are in a broken world that has sin. And whether it's a paper cut or whether it's full-on 2 AK-47s and mortar fire, depending on the story, we come out of childhood wounded. And if we don't have a roadmap on what that looks like to take it to Jesus, we build a series of habits and layers on top of those wounds. And what ends up manifesting itself is a false self. And men are so good at posing. I mean, every man can tell. I mean, you walk into a room and the guy starts talking and you're just like, can I get the real you? I mean, we know it. And sometimes if we're all posers, then we all just start posing against each other. Like, pose, let me tell you this stuff, And we got this, layer of protection, and it's built and designed to protect our wounds because we're not as easy to get into the vulnerability as women are. Naturally, I mean, so therefore we build the pose.
Yeah. Poser,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me give you the opposite end of the spectrum. You want to talk things out with somebody. You're looking for somebody to kind of unload on.
Yeah.
And I don't mean unload in a negative way, but
just purge the garbage.
You go to church.
Yep.
You're around your Christian fellow brothers and sisters. Okay? Everybody comes up, hey, how you doing? Haven't seen you for a long time. Let's catch up.
Yeah.
You start to tell them, and when it gets beyond a certain point, start watching the uncomfortability of that person shifting from feet to feet. Start watching their watch and go, hey, I need to, Mary's leaving out the door there, and I need to catch up with her.
Yeah.
Okay. Some people, they want to know how you are, but when you really open up and start telling them how you are. Now, the Bible contradicts that by saying that when we're depressed, we're not supposed to really cast a shadow of depression on anybody else's path. We're supposed to slick our hair back and, in a sense, almost go to church posing. Because we're not really there to. We're supposed to talk about the magnificence and the glory and the power of Jesus Christ to heal things in our lives and to promote His goodness and His graciousness, His holiness, His mercy, His justice, and all these things. So we're not to walk around like moping Mary, everything, the sky's falling on me. Slick our hair back and go to church.
So is that what culture and what modern day church indicates, or is there? Are you pulling from Scripture on it?
Well,
I'm curious.
There
I mean,
is.
I don't have the Bible memorized.
Well, nor do I. Believe it or not, I would have to pull up the Scripture about slicking our hair back, because I think that is a biblical term. But it's this idea that we comb our hair, we brush our teeth. I mean, because when you're in the midst of depression, you may not have cut your fingernails, you may not have brushed your teeth, you may have not washed your hair for 3 or 4 days. We're not supposed to walk into church looking like that.
Oh, you mean the pity side of it?
Right.
I think of more when you say that, I think more of all the letters that were written to the church that were true and vulnerable, and it was crystal clear. You know, hey, we're in a world at war. We have an enemy, and we need to stand firm. We need to resist, and there's truth in that, and it's pure and it's true. When Paul is writing in Romans and he's talking about, I struggle, I don't know why, my heart wants this, but my flesh does this, and this battle that he's having, that's true and that's truth. So the pose side of it, I don't know where that gets anybody anywhere. Now I get it that I'll have people that'll come and want to tell me their story, but the problem, and I started looking at my watch when this happens.
Sure,
is when they want to tell me their story, but their interpretation of it. It's the pose. They're giving me their pose, their false self.
All right, we're going to take a break. You're going to listen to the music of the Gaither Vocal Band coming September 16th to the Civic Center of Des Moines, live here on The Truth.
Child for her. There's only one thing that we're sure about that's gonna make those angels.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza, and it's got Graziano sausage.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens, rock on! This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Those angels jump and shout when a sinner makes the Lord his choice. That's when the angels rejoice. Now when the light bulb first lit up the town, know the angels.
It's Statler Brothers. It's the Gaither vocal band coming to Civic Center of Des Moines on Friday night, September 16th, 3 weeks from today. Or would it be 2 weeks? Be 3 weeks.
September.
Yeah, 3 weeks from today. Going to be a fun evening. I look forward to meeting you there. I'll be there. I don't know if Chris will be there or not, but I'll be there.
But you're not singing with them, correct?
They don't rub it in.
They turned me down. They turned me down. Now, they did say that if I wanted to be a backup singer for them, they'd let me do that. And I said, well, what does that look like? Well, every time you start singing, somebody's going to say, back up. No, back up. No, keep backing up. It's an old Nashville joke. Hi, Brian Leech. How are you?
I'm fantastic, Mr. McCoy.
We're talking about the boot camp, Iowa, for Wild at Heart, coming up September 22nd through September 25th. We're trying today to give you another idea about why the man in your life, or if you're the man in your life, you should go to this. Please do not be shy. Please pray about this. I'm serious. Is it fair to say your entire relationship with Jesus will take a huge step up?
Well, unless you clearly understand some of these categories we're going into, there is a high probability that you'll get taken out again and again in your intentional pursuit with Christ, just because you're missing categories.
And when we say taken out, think of what you said, a fighter in a ring. And all of a sudden the guy comes up with that big right hand, boom, in the nose, and you're down flat and you're out cold. And that's what relationships can do to men.
Yeah, I mean, this world's tough, and unless we fully know and are trained how to operate as a Christian man in this world at war, and I'm not talking ISIS, I'm talking the spiritual war that takes place.
Yep.
Until we have an opportunity to fully let Jesus in to restore our brokenheartedness. I mean, that was his first proclamation coming into his ministry. He quotes Isaiah, and he's like, I have come to rescue the brokenhearted and set the captives free. He's talking about us.
Yeah. And by the way, a lot of people don't have to agree with this, but in my opinion, the brokenhearted are us, those of us that follow Jesus, that get our hearts broken, and setting the captives free are the ones that are being held captive by the accuser.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But Frank?
Well, let me ask you about a type of guy, a phenomenon that I've known a few of these people in my life. I'm not talking about myself, but I know of some guys in life.
We knew you weren't talking about yourself when you described it as a phenomenon.
Well, there's some guys I know that, and I think it's guys in particular more so than girls, that have the attitude that they're kind of happy with what they got, but they're waiting to trade up on the new model. These type of people wouldn't be a serious candidate for this kind of experience, right?
Well,
I mean, unless you're wanting to save a relationship, mature and nurture a relationship, unless you're serious about the person you're with, this really wouldn't do.
I don't know about that. You know, I've been with my wife for 9 years, and I had a lot of agreements tangled up with my wounds in regards to our marriage. Just a lot of lies that I had bought. You know, when we sorry if I'm going rabbit here, but you know, each man wounded in some fashion, some way. We put the pose out, and with the wound comes an agreement. generally. The story of most men's lives is the long and sustained battle on their heart by the one who knows who they can become. If they fully pursue Christ and turn and surrender their heart to Him, not just their head, not just their Sundays or Wednesdays or whatever, but fully surrender their heart to Him. See, the most diabolical part about this whole thing is that during the wounding, whatever those wounds were, Satan was present for all of them, and he caused most of them. Okay? And what he's looking for is he's looking to make an agreement. He's looking to get us to buy an agreement. Like, you really suck. You don't have what it takes. You're such a loser. It's these whispers of the enemy that'll come when we are most vulnerable, when we are in pain, and he's looking to make an agreement, and then there becomes the foothold, the stronghold that binds us to that agreement.
Okay, time out for just a second. Explain looking to make an agreement. Explain how the accuser gets us to buy into the lie or buy into the agreement that you suck. Okay. Buy into the lie you're a loser.
Let me give you a positive example first. Jesus loves you, Mac.
Thank you.
Agree.
I agree.
I buy that.
I buy that.
Okay. Now here's Satan coming at it. So you're wounded. You're vulnerable. Mac, you're such a schlep rock. Mac. Okay. Abandonment. Let's go there. How many of us have had to process that? I had 5 dads that left. Here's the message that comes with it. They will always leave you.
Yeah.
You get close to any man, give your heart to any man or woman, they will always leave you.
Yep.
That was one of the deep agreements of my heart. And then another massive agreement of my heart is you can't trust anyone.
Right.
I bought that. The crap happens, okay? So the world comes at us. Things happen, and he's looking for an agreement. And so what we get to do in this boot camp is we get to go through the process of learning to hear from God, hear from Jesus, and have Him reveal to us what those agreements are. And then we learn how to break the agreements through power and authority of Jesus Christ. We bring the blood and cross against the accuser, against the enemy, against that agreement, and we get free of that bondage. Some of this is just, there's so much of it riddled in Scripture throughout. But Frank, what was your original question? I'm building a foundation to answer that.
Guys who kind of are looking to trade up on the newer model, that they're not really serious about potentially the relationship they are in. Is that a good candidate for your program?
Okay, so when I think of when I was 12 years old and I thought about marriage, these were the things, and I'm already 3 dads in at this point.
Sure.
But when I thought about marriage, it was, I'm going to be married to one person my entire life. I'm going to have 3 children. I'm going to get married about 30, and it's going to, I envisioned joy and everything that wasn't present. I envisioned that. By the time I get into my 20s, I was that guy. Trading up. The wounds come, the agreements come, the world keeps attacking it. The accuser knows what our main wounds are, and he knows where to take us out. And so once he's got that agreement, he just keeps attacking there to drive it deeper and deeper and deeper, to keep us further and further away from God. And that was prior to my relationship with Christ. And then once I started down that road, there was a lot of untangling to do. So I guess the guy that, my question to the guy that's trading up on newer models, what is he looking for? What is he after? What is he really after?
He doesn't think that he's good enough. He doesn't think that anybody is going to love him enough. So one of the reasons is he's got to have the spare. He's got to have number 2, number 4, whatever it is, in the wings, waiting in the wings.
My story, I'd get to the 8-month mark. I'd be deep and madly in love, and I'd hit the 8-month mark, and I'd blow that relationship up because she was getting too close. I was dropping my shields. I was starting to give her my heart, and then that main agreement: you can't trust anyone with your heart. Boom! I blow it up.
It's funny you mentioned that. Because I had a friend when I used to do some driving for a local rental car agency, and we retrieved cars all over, and guy would say, now this company knows when to get rid of their rental cars. They basically got rid of them every 6 months. He says, now when you get a woman, you mark that on your calendar, 6 months later, get rid of them. They're kicking and screaming, whatever. Because I think we're tracking along the same lines and kind of what Mac is saying is if you're this person that's concealing a wound, protecting a wound, you know that that's about the time they're going to zone in on you and start wanting to know what makes you tick. So you want to get rid of them before you have to reveal to them.
If you go to the epic story, the whole big picture story, what's written on a man's heart, an adventure to live, a battle to fight, and a beauty to rescue. What is written on a woman's heart? Do you delight in me? Am I beautiful? You know, those type of things. And woman is the feminine incarnation of God. She imbues, whatever. Embodies, thank you. She embodies nurture, love, mercy, grace, healing. I mean, look at a mom in her natural element and how she operates with her children. Very fierce and protecting, and she cares about their hearts. You know, all of that. This is written on all women's hearts. It's built into us. And so, of course, in that scenario, you got a wounded man. They want to come in and they want to nurture that. And, you know, we're messy. Both men and women are messy in our approach if we're not trained how to do it and we don't understand the big picture. But
well, you've got women who are broken creatures and broken vessels too. And you said a key thing that they want to nurture. I call it they want to mother.
Yeah.
They want to mother the husband. Now that's a dangerous territory when you start calling each other as married couples mama or daddy or whatever, because nobody really wants to be married to their mom or their dad, and I think it's a dangerous thing to do. But I know a particular relationship I can think of in my mind right now where a woman sets a guy's plate, and I don't mean that just. I don't mean that like physically making a plate of food, but tries to set the agenda, set the plate, and guys who are kind of somewhat passive aggressive will take that.
Yep.
And they, and they're really the pressure's building up in them, but they don't want to confront the issue or they don't whatever. But deep down, a man doesn't want to be mothered and smothered.
Well, the reality of you're really dancing around you got father wounds. Father bestows the identity into a child. So you go back to that main question written on a little girl's heart: Am I beautiful? Do you delight in me? Am I the apple of your eye? The father's got to answer that question. He bestows that identity. If he messes that up, she'll be in the back seat of a car at 17. Looking for that validation. Now you take the boy. The boy is, do I have what it takes, Dad? Am I a man? Am I a real man? As he comes into manhood, the father's got to bestow that identity. If he does not, he will go out to prove that he is in very destructive ways. So, that being said, so you got the father wounds can happen in all sorts of ways, anger, rage. I mean, I heard this story about this young man. He spent his whole life he was one of those guys that always had to explain himself, justify himself. His stories were just really over the top, and you kind of want to dismiss him after he gets going a bit. And you go after his heart, and you get into the story, and we'll talk about that when we get back.
All right, this is the Gaither Vocal Band. They're coming September 16th. Get your tickets now. Enjoy. We're coming back. Wild at Heart, live on The Truth.
Now when the Model T first hit the street, it didn't bring all heaven to its feet. And when the
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. I'm Brian Leech, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Homs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money-back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Oh Lord, you brought us from a mighty long way, a mighty long stay in the wilderness. Oh Lord, you brought us through the thick and thin, through the fire and wind, to a better place. You brought us out.
It's 22 minutes before the top of the hour. I'm J. Michael McCoy. Those, of course, the Gaither Vocal Band. They're going to be here on Friday the 16th. That's 3 weeks from tonight. Civic Center. Here are the ones coming: Bill Gaither, Wes Hampton, David Phelps, Adam Crabb, and Todd Suttles. They'll be making up the Gaither Vocal Band that night at the Civic Center. Also, Charlotte Ritchie, Gene McDonald, and Kevin Williams will also be there. The most expensive tickets are $34. I mean, this is a bargain for a show. So I hope you join us. 99.3 The Truth presents the Gaither Vocal Band. All right, Brian Leech is here today, and we are once again talking about Wild at Heart. Maybe you've read the book. Maybe you've seen the book by John Eldredge. Well, we're having a boot camp here in Iowa starting Thursday, the 22nd of September, up until at about 5 o'clock, and then till noon on Sunday, the 25th. And it's down at
Camp Wesley Woods by Lake Aquabi in Indianola.
Okay. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to give you an idea about why you, or the man in your life, or the son in your life, or the father in your life should just suck up and go to this. The most expensive, this includes all your food, all your materials, is $189. The least expensive is $59. Now, you do have to add $95. Well, I guess that's not the least then. Camping, just bring your tent, use the bath and shower, that's $125. So if you want to attend and truly can't afford to inquire, or if you want to attend but you can't afford it, talk to us about a scholarship or a volunteer opportunity. Brian was on my show 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
The first time you did this?
Probably.
And Pastor Paul was on here, and he was involved with Wild at Heart at the time. And he was talking about this boot camp, and you said, "Oh, sure, I'll go. That'd be fun."
Yeah. I was hungry. I'm going to church every Sunday, and I'm going to Bible study on Wednesdays, and sometimes other days of the week. I was still striving, still struggling, still controlling, still wondering where are all these promises that Jesus tells us about in Scripture of joy and the kingdom come and restoration. So I went.
I assume that's Paul Porter?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and he said something that triggered me big time. Is your Christianity like, would you liken it to a cruise ship where you're just kind of showing up and sipping on the Kool-Aid? Or do you liken it to a battleship where you have been trained and you are stepping up to the plate and you are fighting for the hearts of men and women around you, including your own, and you're fighting for the hearts of our children and for our spouses, intentionally going after the heart? That's what Jesus, I think that's where we left off. That's what Jesus said his ministry was. I've come to rescue the brokenhearted and set the captives free. That was the start of it. That's how he got the ball rolling. It's no accident. That was the first thing he said. I am here to do this when his ministry launched.
Isaiah 61. So I guess today we're just trying to get you to get that guy on the radio or to the radio so he can listen, or on a podcast. I will post this show on my Facebook page, and you'll be able to listen to it. But the most important thing to remember is that as men, most of the time we're too proud to be vulnerable. And this entire camp, from the beginning, is going to help us learn to let the walls down.
And the most important part to note on that is that we're letting the walls down to Jesus.
Right.
I mean, we're not sitting around a campfire singing some songs and, sharing each other's stories. I mean, there are meetings and platforms for that and stuff like that. And most of the guys, I mean, we'll have 30, 40 guys that are going to those kind of scenarios too. We're going for those rescues, of course. But the guy there's this movie where this guy's got a burglar's coming in, and he's like got his, I don't know what the heck the movie is, but he's got his head kind of half in the refrigerator. And there's a burglar coming in, and he's like dazed and confused. And I think that's how we as men live most of our Christian life, is just kind of dazed and confused. Like, what's really going on here? Why? And so we want to open the eyes. Some of our biggest prayers are going to be, give them eyes to see and ears to hear what's really going on around us and where Jesus is working in our life. So when it comes to that, the vulnerability side of it, it's the 45 minutes after a session where we're in a vow of silence and we're taking some questions to God, each of us one-on-one in our own little place, 250 acres, plenty of place to go find a quiet spot and just let Jesus speak. And oh my goodness, the restoration in that, the healing in that, the affirmation, the validation from the Father, it comes, and then it comes hard. Right out of the gates. It's just beautiful. When was the last time you gave 2.5 days to God? Phones off. Plugged in.
Whoa, back up. What? Phones off?
Yeah.
You're in big trouble.
Yeah,
I don't know how to do that.
I've never done that. That's good. That's good because this is a time of first for you, Mac. You've not really left your home and stayed anywhere else.
Right.
You've not gotten on a plane. You're thinking about that coming up here.
Right.
One of the simplest forms of attack. Satan doesn't have to work that hard anymore. All he has to do is distract us. And one of his most simplest forms to kind of keep us disconnected from Christ is to keep us busy. Busy. Heads down, go to church, busy the rest of the time. And, the portals through the distractions that can take place through these phones and stuff, that's one of his simplest forms of attack.
So when you say phones off, do you mean phones off from Thursday at 5 till noon on Sunday?
You bet.
No texting.
And I can, being someone that has a phone and uses it for a lot of things, I can tell you it's, wow. It's like you get to breathe the free air.
You don't have to, the session's over, you don't get to go get your phone and turn it on and see if you got any messages or Facebook?
Well, I sat watching you when I walked in 30 minutes early today, and I sat and watched you without 30 seconds of stillness. filling your cup, going over here, checking the air conditioner. The reality of most of our lives, Mac.
You just made my assistant Jill fall off her chair in laughter. You really did.
But it's busyness.
She says that all the time.
That's a rapid way to take us out. Busyness. People wonder why they don't hear the voice of God. Because He wants to be heard.
Yeah.
Just Him in that moment.
Yeah, He's a jealous God. He wants our time. He wants our love.
Well, He just knows He's not going to connect with us if we're looking at Facebook.
All right.
Something you mentioned earlier about Satan not having to work so hard, I would suggest that's a little bit like some of our government programs that are on what is called autopilot. And some of Satan's temptations are really on autopilot because the media is just this non-stream autopilot of information that all you have to do is plug into. And it's there. The commercials. We mentioned the other day the Hardee's commercials where, the newest one where you got 3 girls and you're going to have a 3-way cheeseburger. And she's eating a piece of bacon and she kind of makes a snide remark. It's the sexual innuendo in the beer commercials, the sexual innuendo in the hamburger commercials. You don't have to go out seeking lust. When it's just on the TV, just you're being bombarded with it.
Yeah, and I think that drives an important note of clarity. When I reference, Satan this, and, well, get behind me, Satan, this isn't you, you don't get none of this. The reality of it is he's probably not the one pissing with us most of the time. He got bigger fish to fry. I mean, he's working in, company leadership. He's getting after heavy leaders. But there's a lot of foul spirits out there. It was a third of the host of heaven.
Right.
That's 10 million, 100 million. It's 100 million. 10,000s of 10,000s.
You're listening to Mac's World. Friday afternoon, we're talking about men and their hearts and how to wound them and then how to heal them. It's coming up live on The Truth.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for the opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Brought us from a mighty long way, a mighty long stay in the wilderness.
It's the Gaither Vocal Band coming to Des Moines. September 16th, 7 p.m. Civic Center. I'll be there. I hope you're there too. Get your tickets now by calling Ticketmaster. All right, we're talking about a boot camp that's coming up for men and men only. It's called Wild at Heart. It's based on a book, Wild at Heart by John Eldredge. It starts Thursday the 22nd at 5 p.m. I got to figure out how I'm going to do that because I'm on the air till 5. I mean, is it okay if I'm there at 5:45?
Yes.
Okay. And then it goes till noon on Sunday the 25th. And it's 180 men sleeping outside, sleeping in the lodge. How you can decide where you're going to sleep. I think I'm just going to grab a sleeping bag and a lean-to and just go out with the animals.
Sure. I mean, if you're going to change things up, you might as well go all in.
No, I'll be staying in the lodge. Thank you. But they have bunk-style lodging, bathrooms, bath and shower house, use of bath and shower house. If you want to bring a tent, if you've got an RV, you could set that up. Also, there will be fishing, archery, sailing, canoeing, night hiking, swimming pool, zip line, and a rock wall for free. And if you want to go horseback riding, it's $15 extra. The food will be phenomenal. Men food. We'll kick it off Thursday night with a T-bone steak. And Brian and I have even talked about maybe splitting one because they're so big. They're so huge. We put a pig in the ground on early Saturday morning, so by Saturday night, that pig's ready to go. I have not been to one of these yet, but there's been a lot of spiritual warfare in my life the past couple of years, and my good friend Brian Leech took the time. I love you for doing this for me. He just took the time and gave me some CDs to listen to John Eldridge, and that got me interested, and then walked me through some tough stuff. And I know this isn't a big deal to you, but for me, not to sleep in my own bed. I have spent 4 nights in 12 years not sleeping in my own bed. 2 were in Nashville, and 2 were visiting my parents. I don't travel. I don't fly. I just don't. Brian has asked me for 4 years to go to this, and I always give him a bad excuse. This time, God gave me just enough of what this curriculum is that I have to go. I mean, I'm telling you, I know I have to go. So if you're a guy like me, and when Brian and Frank and Bob and I talk about this, it stirs something. The Holy Spirit kind of lights up and says, pay attention to this. I'm revealing myself to you through this radio program, through these guys. Pay attention to this. And then the accuser steps in and makes you believe the lie that, Mac, you don't like to travel. You don't want to sleep someplace else. A bunch of guys camping, fishing, canoeing. I mean, Mac, that's not you. You're an HBO in one hand and in front of the TV, and I'm going to do it. So will you try, please? Because I'm going to tell you, if you don't go this year, I'm just going to come back and bug you about next year. Sooner or later, you'll do this, and it will change your life.
Yeah, so we spent a lot of time talking about wounds. We talked about warfare. But I think it's probably important to spend some time in the restoration and the healing that's available. We get to talk to God after one of the sessions on our calling and where He's directing us in our life, and that's beautiful. There's just so much. I mean, let me give it an overview. Just baseline overview.
You've got 3 minutes.
3 minutes. You have a masculine heart. Okay? Men, you have a masculine heart. The heart is central. You live in a larger story. It is a love story, but it's a story of a world at war. There are 2 kingdoms. You're either part of one or part of the other. And you don't want to be stuck in the middle. There's the poser.
But aren't most men stuck in the middle? Cultural Christians who go to...
call it lukewarm.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's the poser. It's not the central thing, but we pose to protect our wounds. Sin and brokenness creates the pose. Jesus came to heal those wounds and restore you to a genuine strength. You have an identity, a true self in Christ. You have a name. We need validation. We need it from the Father, not from the beauty, not from work, not from our friends. We need validation from the Father. We need to know from Him, you are my son. I love you. I'm here to protect you. I have forgiven you. Now come walk with me. And you have what it takes for the journey I have for you.
And you got to realize the first time Brian told me that, you were pacing outside at your house.
Yep.
I was sitting in my chair, and I was in a bad place. Because I just figured there were some sins in my life that God would never forgive me for. Never. And those words right there, you just about made me cry again, because I remember you saying that. You are my son. I love you. I will never leave you. I will always forgive you. There's nothing you can do, Mac. If you ask for forgiveness, I'll give it to you. And I remember, I think it was you that said, were you the one that said, Jesus has no more blood? He gave all the blood he's got. That all the forgiveness that's available in this world is available to you, Mac.
No, I didn't say
You didn't say that? Okay, somebody did.
But that brings up the warfare in that conversation, just but he can't forgive me for that. Bam, that's an agreement. BS, right?
Yeah.
We were in it. I was like, no, break that agreement, Mac.
Yeah.
I mean, the freedom. Do you guys watch any movie buffs in here?
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings?
Oh, I've never watched Lord of the Rings.
Okay, so the Two Towers, you got when Gandalf comes into Theoden, he's totally wrapped up. This is a Satan type warfare picture, and he just boom, he casts Saruman out, and then Theoden just comes alive, and he's like, breathe the free air again, my friend. Oh, that's what you get at this boot camp.
All right, again, it's Thursday, September 22nd through Sunday, September 25th. The most expensive is $189. The cheapest is $125. Great food, but most importantly, the relationship that you have with Jesus is just going to skyrocket. It's just going to skyrocket. Your life just won't be the same. And if you've got a man in your life that you're just going to have to pull and tug and push to come to something like this, bring me into it. Call me. Let me meet that man. Brian and I'll come over and talk to him. Let me meet that man. Make sure he watches this or listens to this podcast. It'll be posted on my Facebook page after we're done today. Whatever I can do to help your man realize what I should have realized years ago, that my heart has been wounded time and time and time again, and those are wounds I never thought I'd heal from. And Jesus did it through Wild at Heart. All right, we're going to take a break, come back, keep going, keep talking about healing wounds through Jesus on The Truth.